Welcome back, everybody. Tottenham Hotspur and Roma on the way out for the second half here in this International Champions Cup meeting in the Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. Roma in front. Played pretty well. Tottenham perhaps looking for some level of improvement here. The stats perhaps not telling the true story there. 3 shots on the target, yes, for Tottenham. But in terms of general play, with less possession, Roma would claim, I think, to have been the more effective team here. Yellows for Carter Vickers and Kolarov. Perotti, a dangerous foil for Dzeko up front. They look to have a very good understanding, those two. Christian Eriksen's going to come on. Tottenham perhaps need his guile, craft and a little sprinkling of stardust going forward. Among the younger brigade, Anthony Georgiou, Ben Davies. Manolas is going to come on here in the second half for Roma. Don't think he'd have exactly welcomed Kolarov with open arms. Konstantinos Manolas, almost an ever-present for the last 3 years, actually. Maybe that Di Francesco's going to try something a little bit different, have a look at a slightly different system. We shall see. Hugo Lloris replaces Vorm at half-time, gets a big hand here. Tottenham need a bit more from Dele Alli. Bit quiet in that first 45. So Davies in his customary role at left back, and it looks as though Georgiou is going to play in front of him. Free kick won by Davies. The Turkish youngster Cengiz Ünder has come on. It was he who gave that free kick away. Newly arrived himself at Roma from Başakşehir. Paid an awful lot of money for a teenager, nearly 15 million euro. Kevin Strootman has also come on for Roma, another of their senior midfield players. So they've got all of Strootman, Nainggolan and De Rossi out there now. Swept out by Eriksen to Georgiou. A little bit of room for the youngster. Oh, maybe a slight deflection befuddled Harry Kane. Now down the middle, Roma come with Ünder, his first involvement, the teenager, on his Roma debut. Ünder over the top, happily, for Tottenham. Good breakout, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good chance. He tried to thread a pass through himself just a couple of minutes ago, and you can see straight away he's got something about him. Timed his run beautifully there as well. And only 20 years old. He's got 2 goals in 4 games for Turkey already.
Here goes Harry Kane. Roma were caught out by that basic clearance by Lloris. Still Kane. Well, we've had 1 penalty in the box already in this game. Fazio appears to have got away with this.
I'm sorry, but that's an unbelievable decision, especially given the context of this game. The soft penalty that Roma got. This is as clear as day. Badly timed, catches his man, referee has a good view. Shocking decision. I think what Harry Kane said, not the best of lip readers, but it was pretty clear. You've got to be kidding me.
Alisson gets there ahead of Manolas, who's looking as though it's all happening a bit too quickly since he came on. De Rossi takes the heat out of it, just knocking it long. Tottenham have come out with a bit of purpose here, sent out by Pochettino, I think, to impose themselves a bit more.
I think they'll be fired up now after that penalty decision, and I fully expect them to be a lot better going forward with Eriksen on the pitch. Kane and Dele Alli got 47 goals between them in the Premier League last season, a lot of that down to the Dane, who had 15 assists.
Strootman came on for Gerson, incidentally. Alisson again well outside his box. That was a truly awful decision, I have to say, wasn't it, Mark? Not to give Tottenham the penalty. These are the easy ones in the middle of the field.
Oh, we saw he even got one of those wrong, giving Kolarov a yellow card in the first half for a tackle where he won the ball, and it wasn't particularly dangerous. And just the way he gave that first penalty as well was strange, to say the least.
I may not have mentioned by now that Harry Winks is on for Eric Dyer for Spurs. Bruno Perez. Strootman caught by Vertonghen. See, the problem is with this kind of inconsistent refereeing is that players get very agitated. Seen it so often in a pre-season friendly. It just becomes a free-for-all.
Oh, we saw Antonio Valencia get sent off for Manchester United. He wasn't too happy with the refereeing in the previous match on their tour. Took it out on one of his opponents.
See, this is the kind of thing that's going to happen now. That was robust, over-robust from Harry Kane, but they're frustrated. Not exonerating foul play, whoever, but you see, Tottenham bench very annoyed. Hopefully there'll be no lasting damage. Former Nolas. I don't think it was that bad looking at it again. He wasn't sliding in at the man. He caught the man with the right leg as he went away from him almost. But it was a foul, no question.
It's a bit of a striker's challenge, but I agree. I think that's a challenge that wouldn't have happened had Kane not been the victim of a really poor decision just a couple of minutes ago. He's still frustrated. It's hot out there as well. Not used to these conditions, and again, taking it out on the player.
I can understand why Manolas is very frustrated. I honestly don't think for a second that Kane went to injure him, but he did go out to foul him and take out a bit of frustration after what had happened in the box a few minutes earlier. All at your door, sir. All this, the referee. Gracedo.
Pochettino and the rest of his staff are disgusted with the...
Somebody's going to get sent off here, I think, after that big debate with the fourth official, but we know why they're annoyed.
And that's just come from the officials not being up to the same standard as the players or anywhere near it. The players deserve better. All the big decisions in this game have been handled badly, in my opinion.
Does he want to send Pochettino away? I think he does. Miguel D'Agostino was in heated debate with the fourth official. Still is, actually. And the stadium event manager, it would appear. It's all degenerating slightly. It's been such a great spirit around all these games.
You can hear the cheers from the fans there. They're happy that things are getting underway again. They're here to watch the footballers.
Kane. Eriksen outside him. Dele Alli down the middle. Georgiou making up ground as well. Manolas, I don't think he's put a foot right since he came on here. He slipped over with nobody around him then. Helped contrive in that non-penalty decision. Been involved in another tangle with Harry Kane. Come on, you Spurs. That cry's gone up a notch or two. On by Davis. Trippier. Winks. Switch by Davis. Tottenham are trying to make it more difficult for Roma to play here than they did in the first half. I think it's working, actually. Roma have not really got into their rhythm since half-time.
Not really got into Spurs' half either, to be honest. It's been impressive. Yeah, the English side have turned things around here.
Dembele. Vertonghen. Some decent touches for Harry Winks so far. Trippier, first time. Eriksen denied by De Rossi.
Denied by a flag as well, which went up very late.
Well, he's just staying on the right side of the officials, Pochettino, but I can see his blood rising.
That spoiled his trip a little bit. He took part in the bell ringing ceremony at the stock markets in the morning and spoke with real excitement about visiting New York for the first time.
trying to impose himself.
It's all set up nicely if these teams draw each other in the Champions League later this season. Two players getting to know each other quite well in this second half.
Harry Winks, who missed the last couple of months of the season with a quite serious ankle injury. Important to see him back here. Some nice touches from Georgiou since he's come on down the left.
I think it's showing the strength of the Spurs squad and their ability to bring through younger players. It's one thing the chairman mentioned as well when he was talking about the unsustainability of prices.
Davis to Georgiou. Looks an out-and-out winger, doesn't he? Davis pressing on from left back. Dele Alli, deflection on it. Pretty close.
Yeah, lovely play from Spurs in the build-up. Noticeable when they up the tempo there and get that quick passing going. Roma struggling to cope.
Eriksson. Tottenham looking threatening now. Forward by Trippier. Good working back by Georgiou on Bruno Perez to win it back for Tottenham. They're winning the ball back much more efficiently, much more like the Pochettino style here. Alisson flapped it a little bit, got away with it. On the hour mark, it just feels like it's in the melting pot on this steamy New Jersey evening here. A spell that Roma need to withstand.
Yeah, attack against defence at the moment. Roma really need to get their foot on the ball for a minute or two. Experienced team out there as well. Angelan, Strootman, De Rossi in midfield.
But the tempo's been injected by Tottenham, and Roma are less comfortable, aren't they? Tottenham playing more like their real selves here, perhaps.
And the referee took his time before awarding that decision. I think it was the correct one. Again, Georgiou looking dangerous.
Cypriot background. Taken by Eriksson. A bleak angle on it. Almost worked for Dele Alli. I think it's a foul by Davis on Nainggolan.
Not too much in that, but the Welshman penalised. Nainggolan using his experience. Might be his last involvement in the match.
So two of the incoming players here have already featured on the tour. New signings. Hector Moreno and Galonaz are going to come on for Roma. Leandro Castan back in the first team squad after a very serious injury. Alisson's work is done, the goalkeeper.
It's Łukasz Skorupski Polish goalkeeper is coming on for him. Man has been on loan at Empoli the past couple of seasons.
Nainggolan has gone off.
Looks like they've seen off Edin Dzeko as well. Spurs.
Under to Bruno Perez. Giorgio, quick to shift into gear here. Bruno Perez is such a tremendous athlete. He couldn't get away from him, but it looks to be a good contest in here now, second half, between these two.
Yeah, I like the way Perez just glaring down at Giorgio after that tackle.
Giorgio's cross, just beyond Kane.
Giorgio doesn't look out of place though, does he? Unlike one or two of the younger players who featured in the first half, he's taken to it fairly quickly.
Di Francesco still in the very early stages of getting to know some of the new arrivals, of course. Deals that were already on their way before he got the job. The likes of Moreno here. Moreno declined to have a break after featuring for Mexico at the FIFA Confederations Cup.
Di Francesco has Francesco Totti to help him out as well. He's coming back to the club as a director.
I wonder if that had anything at all to do with the departure of Spalletti. That relationship really broke down, didn't it? He's forever Roma, Totti.
Di Francesco was talking about a former teammate of Totti's, of course, but said that it's important to have someone like him around who knows the environment.
Kane was stopped in his tracks by Moreno, but he's gone again here, Harry Kane, and he's in for Tottenham. And it's wide. Going to get a corner out of it, but that was a great chance to level it for Spurs.
Yeah, one he'd normally take, and in the end, Moreno got back to get something on it.
It was desperate, but it worked for Moreno, Skorupski and Roma. Winks. Tottenham keep trying to force the issue here. Dele Alli got something on it. Christian Eriksen now. Just had to rush it a bit. Bruno Perez is down. Certainly seeing something very competitive. It's a sold-out Red Bull Arena.
Yeah, they're watching a bit of a siege right now on the Roma goal, and you'd expect when the campaign is up and running that some of these chances will be taken. It looks like Kane and Eriksen there just a little off one or two of their efforts, either delaying too long or not quite getting the shot right.
No point taking a risk with Bruno Perez if there's any.
Yeah, they're watching a bit of a siege right now on the Roma goal, and you'd expect when the campaign is up and running that some of these chances will be taken. It looks like Kane and Eriksen there just a little off one or two of their efforts, either delaying too long or not quite getting the shot right.
No point taking a risk with Bruno Perez if there's any suggestion of a head problem. Roma, of course, all too sensitive to it after what happened to Leandro Castan. So very good to see Castan out there now for Roma. His career in jeopardy after a fractured skull.
Well, it started for him with bouts of dizziness, and said he probably would have retired, Castan, if it wasn't for Roma and the way they treated him. Very patient with him, gave him a new contract, even though he basically, after his operation in December 2014, had to learn to walk and run again.
I was going to say, there was no issue at all about ever playing football again, Mark. It was a question of whether he could have a normal civilian life and enjoy a family and a fruitful remainder beyond a playing career. Wonderful recovery since. Took some fortitude on his part as well. Gets on it here, Leandro Castan. Came at the worst possible time in his football career as well, because I just had a sense that he was about to go to the next level and become a major star. Presented back to Pellegrini. He used it better that time. Tominello couldn't find a target. Trippier stepped in. Dembele to Winks. On by Ali. Georgiou. Good duel it is between these two. He and Bruno Perez, who continues. Nice and tidy from Winks, isn't it? Just keeping the game ticking along for Tottenham. Hard work. And, I think there's a certain degree of concern for Bruno Perez. Can't see the point myself in keeping him out there. Firma's going to come on for Tottenham. And the next youngster, as senior men Vertonghen and Dembele depart, the next youngster out there is Tashan Oakley-Booth, and he's only 17 years of age.
Well, that's the Tottenham philosophy. Homegrown players have an affinity to the club. If you can blood them, they'll give absolutely everything for Spurs. Maybe they don't need too many signings at all if the talent is still coming through the ranks.
Alderweireld was pressed into the loose pass. Strootman here. And it might come here for Roma. It does, and Under gives Roma a 2-goal lead. The teenager signed for so much money from Turkey.
Scarcely deserved. Hugo Lloris has had nothing to do in this second half, but it was a very presentable opportunity, and the half-time substitute Under made no mistake. Wimmer just on the field, did his best to clear it, and it was a setup for Under in the end.
It's really the worst thing for a defender to come on and immediately be under that kind of pressure. But yeah, he had to do better and he couldn't. Under profited, so do Roma. So with 20 minutes to play, Tottenham, who have dominated this second half, have got to find 2 goals.
Now credit to Kevin Strootman as well, wearing the captain's armband. Sensed there was an opportunity, raided down the left, and his cross created the chance for Under. And I wonder, is Cengiz Under a Monchi signing? He's only had 1 season in the Turkish top flight with a major club, but helped them to second in the table.
Yeah, amazing performance that was, outside of the so-called big 3 in Turkey. And sure enough, all the scouts go flocking to watch them when they start to make some headlines in Turkish football. Tominello here. A little theme of the tournament has been for Inter and AC Milan, giving young strikers of their own their chance in this tournament. Crotone for Milan particularly did well. Tominello's only 18. No problems for Skorupski. In their first game, of course, they brought on the young Nigerian Sadiq Umar, who's still waiting to get out there, itching to get out there in this game. He did very well, didn't he, when he came on?
Yeah, very well indeed. Great goal. Tuminello, Italian under-19 international, was on for that game as well in the second half, but struggling to impose himself in this one. Just the one worry I have for Spurs with their squad is, as good as Harry Kane is, they depend so much on him in attack. Janssen, his move didn't work out last season. Hopefully he'll come good.
Well, the man who bridged the gap was Son in terms of his play and his goal contribution. Here's Perotti. Tuminello gets Roma a corner.
Yeah, well, that trio, Kane, Ali, Son, scored 3/4 of Spurs goals in the Premier League last season.
21 all competitions from Son. Perotti again. Strootman to Pellegrini. Another little tester for Wimmer. Fell slightly awkwardly, the Tottenham defender.
Yeah, Tuminello landed on top of him as well.
Not quite.
A stray pass in there from the youngster. Great to see so many of the academy players getting a chance here for Spurs. One or two, as we discussed, maybe lacking a bit physically for a match like this. A couple of others looking the part.
No foul this time, and Manolas again in the wars. It's Harry Kane for Tottenham. Moreno very cool. Now it's Roma's turn to be annoyed at this referee.
Yeah, I think Kostas Manolas is going to be okay. Something tells me, although shoulder doesn't look in great shape. But just the way he went down, feet thrashing about on the ground. The referees, well, it's not something a referee will be enamoured with, really. And from that, Spurs wasting another good chance.
He's had a rough old time since he came on, Manolas, one way and another. Vincent Janssen. Kane off. 15 to play here for Janssen. George Kevin and Kudu is the other player coming on for Dele Alli.
Two summer signings who were disappointing last campaign.
Georgiou's cross.
Vincent Janssen scored a lot of goals for AZ Alkmaar and a goal against England at Wembley. But he had only played one season in the Netherlands for a top team. It was a bit of a risk maybe to sign him, but still only 23. He could certainly still come good, and I really like Nkudu. He had a very good season for Marseille. He had a tough time for the club, so at 22 as well, I'd expect him to improve a lot this campaign.
Very pressurised environment to come through in, you're quite right. Marseille have had a very lean spell.
Well, that season under Michel, they couldn't buy a win at home, so many draws, but Nkudu, along with Michy Batshuayi, were the two players who really stood out, trying to create things.
Tidy from under, he's released Bruno Perez. Roma player steaming in there, but wasn't a good cross. On quickly by Trippier, no time to lose for Tottenham.
Great for Oakley Booth to get some minutes out there in the Spurs midfield. Teenager rubbing shoulders with some very experienced campaigners.
Under. Done that well. Lloris gets there well to deny Strootman.
Well, easy to say after he scored a goal, but Under looks very good.
Winks for Tottenham. Roma have looked a very accomplished side here, as befitting their achievement last season, running Juventus close in Serie A.
And they've lost Mo Salah and Antonio Rudiger. They look to have a very competitive side again.
Moreno looks a really good replacement. Bruno Perez. What a run from him. Under, offside. Bruno Perez, Mark, is a player who's got better and better every season in Italy. First at Torino and then for Roma. Perotti's going to make way now for Juan Manuel Iturbe. Another who's recently been at Torino, who's at Bournemouth as well, of course, the season before. Still wants to make it at Roma.
They spent quite a bit of money on the Paraguayan international, about 22 million euros back in the summer of 2014. Hasn't really pushed on as he would have liked.
He was coming off a very good year at Verona, his best year really. That's what got him the move. No Harry Kane, no Dele Alli. And no way through there.
No Victor Wanyama tonight, who was Spurs' best summer signing of last year.
Bit short for Davis. Inviting Bruno Perez to come again. He's overdone it this time. A takeaway, as they say, from this for Pochettino might be tomorrow that he says to the Tottenham players, look, Champions League, every game's going to be as demanding as that. We've got to learn quickly about all this, be ready to adjust from Premier League style to playing against very accomplished players, whoever we get drawn against in the Champions League.
Well, that is the story of Pochettino at Tottenham. They're now getting used to playing every week in the Champions League. didn't quite go to plan in the group stages last season, but we didn't quite realise how good Monaco were.
Well, that is true, but it's also true to say, I think, that it was one of the weakest groups overall as a collection of teams. CSKA, nothing like their former level, and Bayer Leverkusen, I know they qualified from the group, but they actually fell apart on and off the field during last season. Hakan Çalhanoğlu's suspension at the turn of the year was critical in that.
Yeah, well, that was the real disappointment for Spurs, a draw away at Leverkusen, but then that 1-0 defeat and a really poor performance at Wembley. Kevin Campbell getting the winner in that one. But you're right, Leverkusen had a terrible season in the end. Even Chicharito, Javi Hernandez, lost his form. New West Ham signing, of course.
All the new signings are showing up well for Roma here. Almost a plaintive cry now of "come on you Spurs." It was full-throated around the hour mark because Tottenham were dominant, but they've taken the sting out of it. Roma very, very well since they got their second goal, thanks to this fellow, Under.
One new player for Roma we haven't seen as yet in pre-season is Rick Karsdorp, Dutch fullback who won the league with Feyenoord.
He might not get in. Bruno Perez and Kolarov might have locked off those two roles.
Certainly not short of options. Serie A is going to be great this season. Juventus looking to defend their title. Inter Milan with the former Roma manager Luciano Spalletti in charge. And AC Milan spending lots of money.
Giorgio did well again. Nobody really read the cross. He had another go with his right foot. Christian Eriksen, nicked off him by Iturbe. Bruno Perez, he's lost out to Georgiou, who hits it. Turned over the top by Skorupski. Right back overplaying his hand then.
I think Georgiou has been the best of the substitutes for Tottenham. A real good scrap with Bruno Perez, got the upper hand there and tested the keeper. Definitely looks like he could play his part in Tottenham's season.
Surely every one of these youngsters must be saying to himself at the moment, look, 23-man squad for the Champions League, I've got a chance of being in it. Oakley Booth threw a few shapes then.
A frustrating night for Tottenham, but I think they're going to learn a lot more from this game than they did against Paris Saint-Germain. Played against 10 men for half of that match. Roma, a really tough nut to crack.
Roma get the free kick.
As for Roma, looking good with Under showing well. Kolarov was good in the first half, and the other new signing, Gregor Defrel, showed some good movement, good initiative as well.
Pellegrini to Perez. Davis wins it and uses it quickly. Everything has to be rapid now for Tottenham. Winks keeping the tempo good. Christian Eriksen, and Kudu came off his flank, goes short to Wimmer instead, off the post. And Kudu couldn't turn it in first time, but it's poked home on the goal line almost by Harry Winks.
Well, no more than Spurs deserve. And a positive note for Pochettino at the end of this game. Vincent Janssen screaming for it. His shot squeezed through. It looked like the chance was gone. The keeper couldn't recover though. And Winks following up to finish.
Just got the reward for making the effort to get in there, didn't he?
Yeah, he stayed at it as well. Eriksson involved, of course, in the creation of that goal.
Strootman lets it run out of play. Roma, I think, will be quite happy to let the clock run down here.
Winks will be another man to try and grab his chance this season. Just 3 starts in the Premier League, but he did make 21 appearances overall. England's under 21 international. He'll be hoping to push on in the next few weeks.
It's been a good night for him, really, after injury at the end of last season. He's been assertive from the middle of the park, positive. Floated out by Alderweireld. 2 minutes plus stoppages. On Kudu again. Stopped by Leandro Castan. Iturbe got away with it.
And Kudu may be showing his inexperience at this level. Did play some Europa League matches for Marseille a couple of seasons ago. And he did only have 1 season with Marseille. He came through at Nantes. A couple of good years there. But a lot of players have made the move from France to the Premier League and found it tough. The man involved in the swap deal, Clinton Ng, was one of them.
On by Oakley Booth. Winks caught in possession this time. Tuminello. Iturbe. Tuminello driving through the middle. Pellegrini. Strootman. Steered backward by Moreno. Manolas. I don't think he's done a single thing right in the whole second half. Poor old Manolas. That was awful. Now, could Tottenham profit from it? Eriksson, deflection on the cross. Skorupski wasn't fooled by it. And Tuminello just says to the goalkeeper, just calm it down.
Manolas, the Greek defender, played a lot of matches last season. There has been speculation about his future. The club president saying that they are looking to keep him, but they might be changing their minds based on this performance in the second half.
As you saw, 3 minutes of stoppage time. Still hope for Tottenham. And Kudu. That's a great ball in, and Spurs level it. Wimmer's got it. Not Wimmer, excuse me. Vincent Janssen.
Yeah, well, they criticised Nkudu just a few moments ago for taking too much out of it, trying to beat his man. Much more like it. Get a yard of space, whip it in, and hope the striker finishes it off. And that's the type of service that Janssen will be looking for. Not the cleanest of contacts, but a good boost for his confidence to get the leveller for Spurs. Great play from Nkudu. And on the balance of play and the chances they've had, you can't say, and it's not deserved.
Roma come again, and they score. What a remarkable finale here. Tominello has got them 3-2 in front.
Seconds between the goals. Claims for a free kick in there. Spurs defender went down. Clever forward play and a lovely finish as well from the youngster. Stretching out. And Tominello has surely won it for Roma.
One of the themes of the tournament, these young strikers for the big clubs from Italy, all making their mark on the tournament. What timing from Tominello. What a remarkable finish to this game. Janssen thought he'd levelled it and won at least a shootout. Tominello had the last word, or maybe not.
Well, again, so much drama in this tournament earlier on today in Asia. Bayern Munich just about holding on against Chelsea, 3-2.
And look at Manolas doing the wounded old soldier. My shoulder's really troubling me. Hard fought it has been. It's over here, and it's Roma who celebrate in the Red Bull Arena. Tominello in stoppage time. Di Francesco and his men have been very impressive, I must say. Tottenham Hotspur wouldn't dispute that, but Tottenham thought they'd crawled their way back from 2-0 down. Under, who came on, was very, very good. Harry Winks drove Tottenham forward, and they fought their way back, thanks to he and Janssen. But virtually from the restart, Roma went down the other end, and Tominello restored Roma's lead, and they have won it 3-2. So, a breathless finale. Let's review the best of it. Young Walker-Peters starting down the left for Tottenham. One of several of the youngsters given the chance by Pochettino, but some of the senior players for Roma very effective in this game. Edin Dzeko among them. And in general play, Roma very, very impressive. Carter Vickers also in there from the start. This big decision would become a theme, the questionable refereeing here. That was given as a penalty after a lengthy delay. Perotti, coolness itself from the spot to put Roma in front. Tottenham only in fits and starts in the first half, Mark.
Yeah, very much so, and still had some good chances in the end. Dembele doing brilliantly here after Kane almost scored. Thankfully, the refereeing didn't ruin the game in the end. There were some bad decisions. Spurs should have had a penalty in the second half. Wasn't Kane's night.
Second half, Tottenham coming out to take it away from Roma and forcing the issue. The tempo was higher. Eriksson on. Dele Alli more of a force than he was in the first period. And Harry Kane denied there. Also that hugely questionable penalty decision not given. Wimmer came on, but Tottenham not looking happy. And the youngster Under giving Roma the 2-0 lead here at this stage.
Yeah, very little for Hugo Lloris to do, the Tottenham captain, after coming on at half-time, apart from pick the ball out of his net.
Strootman came on to captain Roma, very impressively actually. All that after Tottenham had played some good stuff in the second half. Harry Winks kept going. Eriksson. And the poke by Janssen, not enough. And Kudu had a stab at it, and Winks rolled it home from close range to put Tottenham in touch.
Yeah, all one-way traffic in the second half, and Tottenham thought they'd got their just rewards at the very end, and Kudu, another substitute, setting up Janssen, who bundled it home.
Probably no more than Tottenham deserved in a very hard-fought game here. Good moment for Janssen after so many struggles last season, but no denying Roma. They came again, and again it was Strootman away down the left, and Tominello seeming to brush the attempted challenge by Wimmer out of the way all too easily. All the credit in the world for Roma, late on finding the reserves of energy and will here. And the defender needs to do better, doesn't he? Tominello, the youngster, thrilled with himself, winning it for Roma.
So, a spirited contest. What do you take away from having a game like that in pre-season?
Well, it's the closest thing to competitive football that we can get in pre-season. You know, Roma are a good side. They pushed us like we pushed them, and ultimately it's good for fitness and good to get that competitive edge going into the season.
And what changed in the second half as you guys were able to mount a comeback, even though you did ultimately fall short?
Well, you know, we've got that attitude in our team. You know, we never give up. You know, you've seen it many times in many games in the Premier League that every time we go a goal down or whatever, we always seem to have that fight to get back in. You know, unfortunately, to concede right at the end is never a nice blow. But yeah, you know, it's something that we'll take away, reflect on, and try and hope put right for the next couple of games.
Thank you. And at this point in preseason, just how far along do you feel